Valencia is one of the most popular cruise ports on Spain's Mediterranean coast, known for its beautiful old town, futuristic architecture, beaches, and amazing food. I had the chance to visit Valencia both on a cruise and later during a longer city stay, so in this video, I'll share practical tips for cruise passengers, including where ships dock, how to get from Valencia Cruise Port to the city center, and what you can realistically see in one day. Valencia Cruise Port is located roughly 5 kilometers from the historic center, or about 20 to 30 minutes by car or bus, depending on traffic and where your ship docks. The port area is large, and cruise ships usually dock in the commercial port area. Depending on the berth, you may first need to take a free shuttle to the cruise terminal or port exit. Some cruise lines offer a paid shuttle bus from the ship to the city center, which is often the easiest option if you want a simple transfer without worrying about local transport. If no cruise shuttle is available, taxis and Uber are both convenient options. Local buses are also available and usually take around 30 minutes to reach the city center. The good thing is that once you reach the city center, Valencia is very enjoyable to explore on foot. If this is your first visit, I would personally start with the Old Town because it gives you the best feel for Valencia. Historic streets, squares, markets, churches, cafes and local food. If you love modern architecture, museums, or you are traveling with kids, then the City of Arts and Sciences can be a great focus too. With a longer port day, you can combine both, but don't try to fit in too much. Valencia is big and the port is not right in the center, so you need to leave enough time to get back to the ship. Before we continue, a quick mention. If you're planning a Mediterranean cruise, make sure to check out my Mediterranean Cruise Port Guide ebook. It covers 45 cruise ports across the region with practical tips on where cruise ships dock, how to get around and what to see in each destination. I'll leave the link in the video description, together with my full Valencia Cruise Port Guide and related Valencia articles on my blog adventurebegins.com. If you decide to visit the Old Town, there are a few good places to start depending on where your shuttle, local bus, taxi or Uber drops you off. One option is Plaza del Ayuntamiento, the main square of Valencia. This is one of the city's most impressive squares, surrounded by beautiful buildings, fountains, cafes, shops and the city hall. It's also a convenient transport hub, and I stayed in a hotel near this square during my longer visit to Valencia. It was a great base for sightseeing, so if you're staying in the city before or after your cruise, I'll leave the hotel link in the video description. When I visited Valencia on a cruise a few years ago, the cruise shuttle dropped us near the Serranos Towers. This is also a great starting point because you're already close to the Old Town and can easily continue toward the Cathedral area. From there, or from Plaza del Ayuntamiento, you can explore the historic center on foot and walk toward the central market, La Lonja de la Seda, Plaza de la Reina and Valencia Cathedral. The Old Town is one of my favorite areas in Valencia. It's full of narrow streets, small squares, tapas bars, souvenir shops and beautiful architecture. One of the must-see places in the Old Town is the Central Market, or Mercado Central. This is one of the largest and most beautiful food markets in Europe, located inside a gorgeous modernist building with colorful tiles, ironwork and a lively local atmosphere. Inside, you'll find fresh fruit, vegetables, seafood, meats, cheeses, pastries, spices and local products. Even if you don't plan to buy anything, it's worth visiting just to see the building and experience the energy of the market. Just keep in mind that the market usually closes around 3 p.m. or around lunchtime. Right across from the Central Market, you'll find La Lonja de la Seda, or the Silk Exchange. This is one of Valencia's most important historic landmarks and a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It was built during Valencia's Golden Age, when the city was an important trading center, especially for silk. There is usually a small entrance fee, but the visit is easy, beautiful and not too crowded. You only need around 20 to 30 minutes to see the main hall, the courtyard and enjoy the Gothic architecture. From there, you can continue walking toward Valencia Cathedral. The cathedral is one of the main landmarks in the city and stands between two beautiful squares, Plaza de la Reina and Plaza de la Virgen. Plaza del Reina is beautiful and central, with cafes, shops, and great views of the cathedral and its bell tower. Plaza de la Virgen is one of the prettiest squares in Valencia, surrounded by historic buildings and the famous Turia fountain. Valencia Cathedral is especially known because it houses what many believe to be the Holy Grail, the chalice used by Jesus at the Last Supper. Inside, you can visit the chapel where the Holy Grail is displayed, along with beautiful artwork, chapels, and a mix of Gothic, Romanesque, Baroque, and Renaissance styles. One thing to know is that the cathedral and El Micalet bell tower require separate tickets, so check this when buying your tickets. Also, always check opening and closing hours in advance, especially if you're visiting on a cruise schedule. El Micalet, or El Micalet, is the cathedral's famous bell tower and one of the best viewpoints in Valencia. The climb has more than 200 steps, and the staircase is narrow, steep, and goes in a spiral. There is no elevator. I did it during hot weather, and it was quite tiring but not impossible. Once you reach the top, the views over Valencia's rooftops, the Old Town, and the surrounding city are amazing, so for me it was definitely worth it. If you have a bit more time in the Old Town, you can also walk to the Serranos Towers. These medieval towers were once part of Valencia's old city walls and served as one of the main gates into the city. You don't need a long visit here, but it's a nice photo stop and another reminder of Valencia's medieval past. After the Old Town, one of the most famous places to visit in Valencia is the City of Arts and Sciences. It's located about 15-minute drive from both the city center and the port, at the end of Turia Gardens, a long green park that runs through Valencia and is popular for walking, cycling, and relaxing. This is the modern side of Valencia and one of the city's most iconic sites, known for its futuristic white buildings, reflecting pools, and unique architecture designed by Santiago Calatrava. If you're visiting Valencia on a short cruise stop, I would definitely come here for a quick look at the architecture, even if you don't visit the attractions inside. The main complex includes the Hemisfèric, the Science Museum, and the Oceanogràfic Aquarium. The Hemisfèric is an IMAX cinema and planetarium-style venue, and visits are based on timed entry. The experience usually takes around 1 hour. The Science Museum is interactive and mostly interesting for kids and families. Inside, you'll find hands-on exhibits about science, technology, space, the human body, and the natural world, so it's more about experimenting and learning through activities than a traditional museum. If you want to visit it properly, allow at least 1 hour. The Oceanogràfic is the largest aquarium in Europe and, in my opinion, the main attraction here if you have more time. You can see different marine habitats, including sharks, rays, tropical fish, sea lions, penguins, turtles, and dolphins, so it's especially impressive for families and kids. It usually takes at least 2 hours to visit properly, and more if you want to see shows and explore at a slower pace. For a short cruise visit, walking around the complex and taking photos may be enough. But if you have extra time, or you're traveling with kids, the aquarium is probably the best choice, and the Science Museum can also be a nice addition. If you plan to visit any of the attractions inside, especially the Oceanogràfic or Hemisfèric, it's best to book your tickets in advance. I booked all my entrance tickets through Get Your Guide, and I'll leave the links in the video description. Another great family-friendly option in Valencia is Bioparc. We visited Bioparc during our longer stay and were really impressed by how beautiful it was and how well the animals seemed to be treated. It's designed in an African-style setting with natural-looking habitats instead of traditional cages, which makes the whole experience feel much more immersive. Bioparc is especially great for families with children or if you have already visited the main sites in Valencia before. For first-time cruise visitors, I would treat Bioparc as an extra option rather than a must-see because it's about 30-minute drive from the port or over 1 hour by public transport, so you need to plan transport and enough time for the visit. If you prefer something more relaxed and closer to the port, the beach area is another easy option. If your ship docks near the port exit, The seafront promenade and beach area are within walking distance. The closest and most popular beaches are Las Arenas Beach and Malvarrosa Beach. Both have a wide sandy coastline, a long seafood promenade, cafes, beach bars and restaurants, so they are great for a walk, lunch or a few hours by the sea. Malvarrosa is probably the best known city beach in Valencia, while Las Arenas is closer to the port and easier to reach if you don't want to go too far. After sightseeing or beach time, Valencia is also a great city to enjoy food and drinks. Valencia is the birthplace of paella, so it's the perfect place to try it for lunch. Traditional Valencian paella is usually made with chicken, rabbit, beans and saffron rice, but seafood paella and other versions are also easy to find. The Old Town is also a great area for tapas, especially if you want something more casual between sightseeing stops. For drinks, you'll see sangria everywhere, but you should also try Agua de Valencia, a local cocktail made with orange juice, cava, vodka and gin. If you are staying overnight or spending a few days in Valencia, the city becomes even better in the evening. You'll have more time for dinner, tapas bars, evening walks, and simply enjoying the atmosphere at a slower pace. During our stay, we also went to a flamenco show near the port, which was a really nice evening option. If your cruise starts or ends in Valencia, or if you decide to spend a few days here, choosing the right area can make a difference. For first-time visitors, I would stay in or near the Old Town, because you'll be close to the Cathedral, Central Market, Plaza del Ayuntamiento, restaurants, shops, and most main sites. Another good option is staying near the City of Arts and Sciences, especially if you prefer a more modern area or if you want to be closer to the port. I have a full guide on my blog about where to stay in Valencia, so I'll leave that link in the description as well. So, to sum it up, Valencia is a beautiful cruise port, but because the port is not right in the Old Town, planning your transport is important. If it's your first time, I would focus on the Old Town and maybe add the City of Arts and Sciences if your port time allows. If you have a longer port day, Valencia offers a little bit of everything: history, architecture, food, modern attractions, and family-friendly options. Thanks for watching. I'll leave links in the description to my Valencia guides, tickets and Mediterranean Cruise Port Guide ebook on adventurebegins.com.